welcome to this short introduction to the MLitt in Comparative Literature at the University of Glasgow. My name is Dr Shanti Graheli. I'm Senior Lecturer in Comparative Literature and the current Program Convener of our MLitt. I specialize in the study of early modern books across borders, taking a comparative approach to the circulation of objects and ideas in the Renaissance. The program is based in the School of Modern Languages and Cultures, where you will meet researchers from a wide variety of backgrounds, from postcolonial literature to gender studies, translingualism and migration, environmental humanities, and translation studies. You can check out our research areas through our staff pages at the link below. This is a 12-month program, or 24 months if you're attending on a part-time basis. The MLitt is articulated across compulsory courses that all of our students take, with the ability to build your academic portfolio around your personal interests. In the first semesters, all students take our course, Introduction to Comparative Literature. The course is articulated across keywords in the discipline, such as comparison, materiality, borders, translation, postcolonial, and so on. Each seminar is run by an expert who will lead a discussion starting from set critical readings. The course is intended to develop the shared language and understanding of key debates within our discipline, but also to teach you how to relate these debates to areas of your personal interest, something which you will develop in all of your assignments, but especially in your final essay. Our Semester 2 core course, Comparative Literature in Practice, is designed to help you develop your independent research idea from an early concept to a fully fledged project. This course is one of my favorite things about our program, as it creates a shared and inspirational space within our community of learners, allowing you to see all the other projects in the course as they evolve from start to finish. I love it because I always learn something new. The course develops your key graduate attributes as you will learn to pitch your project for a funding application, think about the interests different audiences may have in your research, as well as developing core research skills, both in the classroom and in your independent preparation. This course prepares you for your MLitt dissertation, offering unique and bespoke support to help you develop your project. The dissertation is completed during the summer, and it is usually the longest piece of writing you will ever have produced. So we are keen to give you as much support as possible for this task. From the late spring, you will work more closely with your supervisor to develop the project and receive guidance and feedback on advanced drafts and ideas. And in addition to these courses, you will take 4 options, usually 20 credits each. These are some of the many possibilities for your optional courses. Several options are developed within the School of Modern Languages and Cultures specifically for comparative literature students, including our flagship course, Reading Workshop in Comparative Literature, which is designed as a companion to the first core course and will sharpen your skills in reading and applying literary theory. Other courses explore cultural exchanges between China and the West through a diachronic perspective, investigate collections in literature and the interaction between world literature and museums, take a comparative approach to postcolonial literature, theory and visual culture, narrative of crisis, and constructions of gender across time and space. You can also take courses from the MSc Translation Studies or a language course at postgraduate level. You're also able to choose from a wide variety of optional courses from across the College of Arts and Humanities, so that you can combine your specialism in comparative literature with cognate disciplines such as creative writing, English literature, history, or classics. Different courses may be activated in different years, but this should give you a sense of the freedom you have in tailoring your own academic pathway to fit your future plans. To maximize the value of your MLitt, the academic year starts with a one-to-one advising meeting with the program convener to discuss your ambitions and expectations, when we will also finalize your course choices. Throughout your MLitt, you will be taught via interactive seminars and workshops rather than formal lectures, and the content of your seminars will be co-created as a mix of course materials and your personal interests. In addition to group discussions and formative assignments, you will also have one-to-one meetings with core members of staff, for example, for essay consultations to discuss your plans. We will give you feedback throughout the academic year to help you sharpen your research and critical skills. And you will also benefit from a thriving research environment within the School of Modern Languages and Cultures. And most importantly, I want to signpost the Research Center for Comparative Literature and Translation. In addition to work in the classroom, we also run extracurricular activities to develop your academic and graduate skills. Some typical examples include sessions on essay planning and writing, conference presentations, publishing, and other career pathways. Depending on interests, we often run bespoke sessions on applying for doctoral research, handling rare books and objects, as well as public engagement in the arts and humanities. You will also have access to a wide variety of research talks across the university. So why choose comparative literature at Glasgow? This is a relatively small program built around a diverse cohort and alumni community. Many of our former students stay in touch, which to me speaks volumes to the sense of community students experience here. A range of assessments will help you develop your profile, and we give you many opportunities to think and to write about topics you care about. The program's flexibility is often cited as a key reason for taking our course, and we also give you a lot of tailored support and opportunities to develop academically. You will find a stimulating research environment, especially through our annual postgraduate conference run by the Center for Comparative Literature and Translation. Previous topics have included translation as intermediality, connectedness, and for 2025, our topic will be rereading. You're very welcome to join in person or remotely. The conference will be on the 22nd and 23rd of May, 2025. If you would like to have a taster of life in comparative literature at Glasgow. Our MLitt trains you to become a researcher and critical thinker, both in and out of academia. Many of our alumni have gone on to funded PhD programs, and others currently work in journalism, heritage, marketing, and education, among other sectors. More generally, the critical and comparative skills you develop on this program are valued in many different sectors, from heritage and culture to publishing, funding and fundraising, or policy making. Information on how to apply can be found on our program webpage, and you're very welcome to reach out to me with any questions at shanti.graheli@glasgow.ac.uk, or you can find me on LinkedIn if you like. That's all from me today. You can follow us on social media and listen to stories from Glasgow podcast, including the experience of current and former U of G students via our social media channels. Bye-bye, and thank you for listening.
Okay, hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm joined right now by Shanti. So if you have any questions for her, please put them in the chat. She's here to answer them for you. But just to start things off, Shanti, you mentioned there's a conference coming up that people might be able to attend. Can you tell us a little bit more about that, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So we normally run this conference every year, and it is specifically in comparative literature and translation studies. So really, it's the heart of everything that we do here in comparative literature at Glasgow. As I mentioned in the video, the theme this year is rereading. So really, you'll hear a lot of papers about different approaches and the rethinking of different approaches to all the new ideas alike. We will make this hybrid, so it will be possible to follow via Zoom, and we will soon be sending out a link for the registration via BookItBee to all our offer holders. And we think this is a great introduction to life in Glasgow and in comparative literature. And students on the MLitt program traditionally take part in this. So it's really a great moment for our community building in comparative literature. This year we will have Professor Susan Basnett doing concluding remarks, and our keynote speaker is Professor David Damrosch from Harvard University. So we're very much looking forward to it.
Wow, that sounds like you've got a brilliant lineup for this year then. And am I right in thinking that this is a really good opportunity for students to get their first ever experience presenting at a conference?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It is, some of our students in the past have given a full academic paper, so a 15 to 20 minutes presentation on their original research. Actually, we've had essays from our core courses turned into papers and now in the process of becoming publications. So really a great springboard for your academic life going forward. This year, it is also particularly special because we celebrate 20 years of our comparative literature program. So we will have that additional opportunity to take stock of what our work in comparative literature has been until now, and projecting into looking forward.
Oh, fantastic! So everyone who's watching, whether it's now or if you're watching us on catch up, keep an eye out for more information on how you can take part in the conference. It's a very special year, obviously, so definitely one that you do not want to miss. And obviously a great way to discover some of the research that the comparative literature students are doing. Yeah, Shanti, you mentioned dissertation topics in the video there. Are you able to tell us a little bit about some of the things that students have chosen to research?
Yes, I'll give you a few nuggets without disclosing too much, of course, of this excellent unpublished research. Some of my favorite themes over the years, and including this year's students, have been on rereadings and rewritings of myth across media, including novels, TV series, as well as video games. And I use this example to also say that comparative literature is not just about what you would conceive as traditional texts. So we've had dissertations, for example, on nonfiction writing, such as Stepanova's On Memory. We've had dissertations about disability in children's literature and film, post-colonial readings and intertextual connections of medieval romances. So you can see how we really have a way of connecting past and present, and that's a key feature of comparative literature, that we work across time and space and media. And another particular favorite of mine in recent years has been rereadings of translation and retranslation of the translingual writer Aileen Chang, a Chinese feminist who migrated to America and engaged very much in her own in the translation of her own writings. So I think sometimes comparative literature also has this potential of delving into the personal in very special ways.
That sounds brilliant. And I love that you've got students working on non-traditional texts like video games, and that's fantastic. And I have to say, every time I speak to you and any of your students, I do regret not having done the masters myself. It sounds brilliant. That's my own regrets. So anyhow, can you tell us a little bit more about some of the optional courses as well? Because obviously you touched on how flexible the program is in the presentation. Are there any particular highlights or particularly popular modules from this year?
Yeah, so most of our students will normally take reading workshop in comparative literature, which really is designed as a companion to our core course in semester 1. And it gives you the best grounding in the work in how to work critically with theory, and really you get your hands dirty when it comes to using theory with reading workshop. So that's really one of my favorite and one of the options that are specifically designed for our students. We have a new option this year on museums and storytelling, which is run by my colleague, Dr. Elisa Segnini. And this will give you a bit of a grounding on the representations of museums and collections in world literature, but also a sense of how there might be porosity between these different disciplines and cultural spaces, and really think about interconnections and also transferable skills. For example, how would you communicate research within the context of exhibit labels, for example, that sort of thing. We often run an option called China and the West on connections between East and West, and really different point of contacts between Western cultures and China. And I always love moderating or looking at assignments from this option because I learned so many new things. Another particular highlight would have to be global narratives of crisis, which will run in semester 2 in the coming year. This is run by my colleague, Dr. Mirna Šolić, and it is again a comparative view of how different global crises have been represented and discussed in media, and the thematic approaches that we are able to consider, for example, migration, ecological crisis, material crisis, and so on and so forth. So again, you see that comparative literature is not just about comparing novels from different cultural domains, but they can be really, the sky is the limit. And you mentioned the flexibility of our program. This is very often cited as one of the very favorite features for choosing our program, because we give you a very clear grounding in your research skills and in comparative literature as a discipline and as a methodology, but then you're able to build your academic portfolio in the way that best suits you. And every student will have a one-to-one meeting with myself to discuss optional courses, and we will together choose the options that best suit your plans for the future. So we will take a very close look at your ambitions and your motivations for coming onto our program.
Brilliant, thank you, Shanti. And is there a particular background that comparative literature students have? Do they have to have done comparative literature at undergraduate level, or have they come to you from other different disciplines?
Well, actually, it is one of my very favorite things that we have a flexibility in profiles. Most students, in fact, have not done comparative literature in the past. And this is in no way a barrier to undertaking the program and doing so successfully. And this is partly because, of course, comparative literature isn't necessarily available at undergraduate level, but you may have done courses such as foreign literatures and cultures, film and TV studies, You may have undertaken courses about myth, about fairy tales, about different literary genres. You may have taken history and cultural studies. All of these backgrounds would be highly beneficial to coming onto our program. Sometimes prospective students reach out to me with requests for, starting reading lists during the summer. And this is always very welcome. I usually send you a very short list of possible texts that you can look at. In fact, they tend to be texts by the keynote speakers at our conference this year, Susan Basnet and David Damrosch. My key recommendation actually is not just about thinking a little bit about literary theory, which is a key foundation of our program. It's actually about reading as much as you can of the things that you love the most, because this is actually how you make the most of our program. You will come on the program with a clear idea of the things that you enjoy, and you will have the freedom of writing about those topics and those ideas.
Brilliant, thank you. That's great advice. I think we're coming up to the end of the session. So just to round things off, Shanti, can you tell us a bit about the community that the comparative literature students would be joining in September? You've mentioned translation studies a few times.
Yes, we have of course a very mixed community because we are based in the School of Modern Languages and Cultures, and this is very important to get a sense of the community life you will be experiencing here with us at Glasgow. So we often have social activities and events based around languages and cultures. They're not language specific, so everyone can join with whichever language background they have, but they are spaces for sharing and experiencing each other's cultures in creative ways, for example, food or games or songs and so on and so forth. We have a strong emphasis on research culture, and we will experience this mainly through our two research centers. The Center for Comparative Literature and Translation is your natural home here with us, but there is also the Sterling Maxwell Center for Text Image Studies, and both promote research events that very often take a comparative approach. And my recommendation to any students joining at postgraduate level is to attend as many of these events as you can, because it's a great way of finding inspiration, of thinking about different ways of doing things that already interest you, in fact, of thinking outside of the box. And that is how you make the most of your degree here with us.
Definitely. Thank you very much, Shanti. So we've come to the end of our session. Shanti, can you just remind us, please, when the conference is so people can mark that in their diaries?
Yes, the conference will happen this year on the 22nd and 23rd of May. We will start around 9 a.m. British time, and we will send out to you a link with the registration. We ask the participants register to follow the Zoom broadcast, just so that we keep track of numbers and participants. For anything else, you're very welcome to reach out to me on my email address, shanti.graheli@glasgow.ac.uk, with any questions or concerns or doubts that should occur to you, or even just if you just want to say hi.
Great, thank you so much. So we popped Shanti's email address in the chat for you all, and as Shanti said, just stay tuned for your emails about the conference. And Shanti will also be joining us on Tuesday, the 20th of May, 2 p.m. BST, alongside our colleagues from Translation Studies and Global Communications and some current students. So if you've got more questions about comparative literature, that is time to join us. So Thank you so much, Shanti, for joining us. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and we'll hopefully see you at the conference or at the next Q&A.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.